officers, members of the public and press. Welcome to this meeting of the Appointments Panel. This meeting is our first meeting, with the open part of the meeting being streamed live on the website and recorded. Before I start the meeting, I'd request that we give 1 minute silence in memory of those who have lost their lives during the current pandemic, and especially anybody in particular that you are aware of. Okay, thank you very much. Before I start the meeting, I'd just like to remind members that of the virtual meeting protocol, which has been circulated to you all prior to this meeting. Members are reminded to remain on mute until requested to speak, which will eliminate background noise and any unintentional disturbances. When called to speak, please remember to unmute yourselves. We'll begin the meeting by way of a roll call of all those in attendance remotely, and may I request members to confirm they have a proper copy of the agenda and both hear and see councillors in the meeting. I'll hand over to Amanda to begin.
Thank you, Chair. I'll begin the roll call with confirmation that we've got in attendance Councillor Christopher Akers-Belcher.
That's correct, yes.
And Councillor Black.
That's correct.
Councillor Brown.
That's correct.
And Councillor Howson, who's in attendance as substitute for Councillor Hunter.
Correct.
Councillor Loynes. I think you on mute, Councillor Loynes.
That's correct. Can you hear me now?
We can, thank you, Councillor Loynes. Councillor Mower.
Present, and I have the relevant paperwork.
Councillor Tennant.
Present, and I have the paperwork.
Thank you. And Councillor Young.
I'm here, yes, I've got the paperwork also.
Thank you. Just before I hand back to the Chair, could I just remind members in relation to the voting process for all of these remote meetings, any agenda items that require a vote will be undertaken by a recorded vote. The vote will be called by roll call, where each elected member will be called to unmute their microphone, state their vote, and then mute again after voting. Thank you. Hand back over to the Chair.
Thank you, Amanda. So moving on to the agenda, we've got item 1, apologies for absence. I know we, as just indicated in the roll call there, we've received apologies for absence from Councillor Hunter with Councillor Howson as substitute. I don't believe there are any others, are there?
No other apologies, Chair.
Thank you. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Members with any interest have been asked to declare in advance of the meeting. Have any been received?
None, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any that anybody needs to declare at this point? Councillor Black.
Thank you, Chair. It was just with regards to one of the candidates that is up for regen. I've previously worked with her in my days at Stockton Council.
Thank you, Councillor Black. And Councillor Brown. You're still muted, Paddy.
Oh, not according to this. You got me now? Yeah. So one of the candidates for the financial position is a resident of mine. I've spoken to him several times, along with various people in his street that's about it. But I do know him.
Okay, thank you. Item 3, minutes of the meeting held on the 13th of March. Are there any comments or questions in relation to the minutes? Councillor Akers-Belcher.
Thank you, Chair. There's only one item, and I think it's there was a lot of discussion, and I know that cannot be articulated in the full minutes, but it's important for the decision record. And I understand things have moved on since we made the decision, but the decision, that we made is we did the slotting in en bloc, and it was effective from the 1st of July, and I think that is an important point to note. So I would like the decision, to be changed. So it says the appointments detailed in the report were agreed in accordance with the recommendations from Finance and Policy with effect from the 1st of July. And it was noted that a report will be submitted to full council and the rest of it can just continue. It's just that slight amendment in the middle just for clarity, and I know we've got a report going to full council that'll propose and changes, but it's just to make sure that the decision that we made, because we were very clear on the day.
Okay, thank you. I'm happy with that amendment, but could we just add to that obviously the date there that was mentioned, that it obviously all of those dates and the slot-ins and everything would have been subject to the approval of the deletion of the Chief Executive Officer position at full council. I guess we'd need a seconder for that. Do we have one?
I'll second it. Councillor Young.
Thank you.
Councillor Brown, do you have your hand up? Okay, so with the minutes being changed, we will need to go to a vote to make sure that members are happy to make the changes to the minutes. Can I, Amanda, could you do a recorded vote for that, please?
Yep, I'll start the recorded vote. So, Councillor Christopher Akers-Belcher.
Agreed.
Councillor Black.
Agreed.
Councillor Brown.
Agreed.
Councillor Hunter. Sorry, it's Councillor Howson, isn't it, for Hunter?
Agreed.
Thank you. Councillor Loynes.
Agreed.
Councillor Moore.
Agreed.
Councillor Tennant.
Agreed.
And Councillor Young.
Agreed.
Thank you. That's carried, Chair.
Am I off mute there? Yeah. I think just to follow on from that, I think just for clarity for members, and I'm sure everybody has got the clarity around the dates. The legal position is that the chief exec's post can't be deleted till the full decision that's been referred to of council tomorrow night. And I think as Councillor Akers-Belcher referred to and Councillor Moore, the report to council tomorrow references a suggested change in the implementation date to reflect the factors that have changed since the committee last met. So just so everybody's got this.
Okay.
Got the full position in the same position.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Right. Any other questions or comments on the minutes? Great. There are no other items of business, and so we just move to item 5 and move that we go into closed session. Could someone second that, please?
Seconded.
Seconded. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, Councillor Loynes seconded. Thank you.
Okay. There might be a slight pause.